KDP Low Content Book Publishing 2021. Is it still profitable? Hi, Kerry here from Dream Creator B, and welcome to my channel where we show you how to make money online with KDP Low Content Books, Etsy and affiliate marketing with new training every week. So be sure to hit the big red subscribe button down below. Today I'm going to be looking at, is KDP Low Content Book Publishing still going to be around in 2021? Is it still profitable? And is it still the best business to get into online? Well, let's have a look. Why get into KDP low content book publishing in the first place? Well, the simple answer is the low barrier to entry with regards to both skill and cost. So let's start off with cost. Well, you don't need any specialist software. You can start off with free software such as Google Slides and Canva on the freemium model. What you do need is a computer and internet access. Now, if you haven't got a computer and you haven't got internet access, then this won't be something for you, because you can't create these sorts of books on mobile phones or cell phones, and you have a lot of great difficulty trying to do it on tablets. So the minimum you need is a Chromebook, at least something that gives you access to some of the software like Canva and Google Slides. Now, the next thing is you don't need high skill levels. So you don't need to be an artist to create these books, nor do you need to be a writer, and nor does your language or your first language need to actually be in English, because there's very little writing needed. There's usually only prompts, dates to do, things like that, but you do need to check your spelling and check your spelling errors, but everybody needs to do that. And you can also be catering for people in your own language. So there are a lot of markets out in Amazon that do speak other languages like German, French, Spanish, and Dutch. So you need to be looking at those. Also, it takes very little time to actually produce these books. When I first heard about this system, it was marketed as create a book a day. I couldn't believe it, a book a day. I'd written books in Kindle and I'd known how long they'd taken me. Some had taken me weeks, some had taken me months, and some had taken me years even to get off the ground. But a book in a day? Well, you can be creating a book in a day, and sometimes you can be creating more books in a day. Do some of the books take a lot longer than that? Yes, most certainly, because you have to do research. Sometimes you have to get a lot of things together to actually be creating those books. It's got a lot easier since a lot of the puzzle creator tools have come on board, but you're still taking less time than, say, a traditionally published author, or say somebody who writes high content like fiction books and non-fiction books. Also, there's little upfront investment. You don't need to pay to actually join Kindle Direct Publishing. It is free to be used. And as far as I know, there is no limitation to what country you can be in. There might be something to do with tax, and there might be something to do with how you get paid. And I think you can connect a Pioneer account up if you're in some of the countries that don't have bank accounts linked to it. And you need to check where you stand with tax. Now, Amazon USA has a tax agreement with a lot of countries where they remove the 30% as long as you're paying tax in your own country. But then in others, it is still a 30% tax. But any income you earn online, or any income you earn, is taxable. So you need to check that with your own country, your own state, or your own tax area. But another great thing about doing this business is it doesn't require any inventory. In the olden days, and when I say in the olden days, probably back in 2000, if you wanted to create your own books and things like that, you needed to actually buy the print in, and it would cost you quite a lot of money, and you'd have to try and sell your own books yourself. Whereas now everything is done online and it's sold through Amazon platforms. So the books aren't actually printed until they're sold, because it is a print on demand. So that's another great thing. Another thing is, if you're just starting out, you don't need a list or a website or a funnel. In a lot of these businesses online, they tell you need a list, you need a funnel, and you need website. But getting started in the low content book business, you don't need any of these. Would I suggest getting them? If you're going to brand yourself in a certain market, it would be advisable. But to start off with, no, you don't need any of those. But one of the biggest things that you need to be aware of is trademark and copyright. You need to make sure that you are not using trademark terms such as Zumba. So if you use a Zumba journal, you can actually get in trouble with that because it is a registered trademark. Also, don't be going and using Disney and Marvel characters, even if you've drawn them yourself. Don't be using them. And I have created a video about trademark, and that will be in the top right hand corner. So before we go on any further, what are low content books? Well, they're journals, they're notebooks, they're planners, they're calendars, they're puzzle books, they're activity books, they are log books. They are anything that somebody can actually write in. They're something that the customer can design in. They're something that the customer can draw in. So that is the reason why they're only paperbacks. They are not ebooks because at this moment we don't have interactive ebooks. So when you upload your book and it says, do you want to make the ebook of it? You say no. The only way you can be doing it with the ebooks is if you create, say, cookbooks or children's books, because they're even classed as low content books. So low content means it has very little content that the author has created, whereas high content means that the author has spent a great deal of time writing or drawing or creating these books. Then another question that we get asked, is this market saturated? Well, there's certainly a lot more creators out there than when I first started back in 2018. And there's certainly a lot more than, say, when Rebecca Holman or Di Heiser started. And some people started back in 2014. I didn't even know it existed. I knew about colouring books, but I didn't know that the whole ethos about low content books such as journals and planners actually existed in this market. So is it saturated? No. The main niches, possibly, but even then you can compete as long as you have found a hook or an angle, or you've sub-niched it down, cross-niched it, or you're doing some sort of marketing for it, like using Pinterest or doing paid ads, whether it be Amazon ads or Facebook ads. Also, the whole thing about low content books is they are consumable, so they are quickly being used and people want more. They want different styles. There are people that are into puzzles and they want all sorts of different puzzle books and they keep buying them. And if you create good ones, quality ones that people like because the size is right, it's got the right amount of questions for them, then you will keep selling if you create these in different series. Also, the colouring book niche, people want different styles of colouring books. They'll give you a long list of niches that they want, such as dragons, fantasy, mystical, horror, flowers, patterns. They go through all the different types of lists, so you can be going in and creating these different types of books. Also, you can be creating them a lot quicker than, say, somebody who is traditionally published, like Joanna Basford. Her colouring books are fantastic, and she is brilliant at showing people how to draw things and has a huge following on YouTube and Facebook. But she is restricted with the publishing house. She can only get her books out at certain times, whereas Jade Summers, who is a huge team of authors, or should I say a huge team of artists, they get their books out very quickly because they are not traditionally published. They still use the KDP system, and I think they use Lulu to do all their digital downloads as well. How can you be successful in this? Well, you need to be making a schedule. So you need to make a schedule, decide on when you're going to do your research, when you're going to create your books, and when you're going to upload your books. And you also need to be treating it like a proper business and not just a hobby. You also need to decide on when you need to schedule things like when you're going to be creating your Halloween books, when you're going to be creating your teacher planners, if those are the niches you're going into. Make sure that you've got a plan for when the different seasons happen and that your books will be out in time for those and maybe a couple of weeks before, because what we have seen in the past and recent is that some books have taken days to get through reviews instead of the normal up to 72 hours. I have some of my books took 12 days to get through, and they only moved once I emailed them to say, hey, can you just check out why my books are taking so long to actually be getting through? So now they seem to be back to the maximum 72 hours. I have seen some of my books go through it in under 2 hours, which was marvelous, but that was at different times of year. Now, another reason why I think this business is going to keep succeeding is because during the pandemic, during all the different lockdowns across the world, during April, Amazon kept open print on demand for books. They closed their print on demand merch, which was for t-shirts and hoodies and things like that, but they kept open their print on demand for books. Why? Because people were ordering books to keep themselves and their children busy. So they were ordering activity books for themselves and for their children. They were ordering teaching books like number tracing, writing books, all different sorts of books to keep themselves and their children and their partners and everybody in the family busy during these lockdown period. And the same keeps happening. We keep still seeing different countries locking down at different times. So we know this business is going to keep growing and keep going from strength to strength as long as you create good quality books with good keywords and good covers and good interiors. You will keep making the sales. Also, you can be repurposing your interiors that you've created. You can then be taking them and selling them on places like Etsy, Gumroad, Shopify, WooCommerce, Wix, Groovekart. Any of those you can actually be creating and those stores and selling them. As long as you're advertising them, maybe using Pinterest again, maybe using Facebook or even YouTube to actually be driving people to these different products. And you can also be selling them for a lot more money than, say, what you would be getting at KDP. So that is another source of income. Again, be aware of trademark and copyright. Make sure you don't infringe on anybody's, because that'll keep your account safe. So would I recommend carrying on with KDP low content book business? Definitely. Should you keep with just notebooks? Possibly not. You need to actually be spreading yourself into different niches, use different pen names, go and search out different things and carry on with this business, because it's one of the easiest businesses to get into online, the one with the least learning curve. Yes, you can use professional software such as Adobe InDesign and Affinity Publisher to be creating these, but PowerPoint does just as well, so does Google Slides, so does Canva, so does Keynote, and so does Pages and Word. So whatever you find the simplest to use, whatever you already have, use that. Take that and use it to create these low content books. Also, plan, make a schedule, make a plan of what you want to achieve this year, set out your goals and start working towards them. In my next video, I will be creating a book going through different niches that you could be looking at for 2021. I'll also be creating a video about creating goals for your next year. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, go and watch the video again or ask questions in the comments. Over on the right hand side, there are some training and review videos. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to be notified about any new videos on my channel.